Hello, welcome back to the my name's Bees. Today we're back with added wings. Not a lot of talk right at the beginning today, since it's 10:30. Sorry, started late. We're at the birthday party for my cousin, and only got back not too long ago. So yeah.
今日も暑くなりそうだな。
I didn't expect to be staying there that long, so I hadn't finished up a bunch of stuff that I now had to finish up right before the recording, so here we are. Seven complained while looking at the sun reproachfully. The sky was clear. Small clouds were floating here and there, and there was a little bit of wind.
いい？こっちが操縦桿で、これがラダー操作よ。間違えないでね。こっちが操縦桿。こっちがラダー。
Kotori, sitting in the cockpit, repeated the instructions with a meek expression. Don't touch them until I let you, especially during takeoff. This could be seriously dangerous.
わかってる。
From the rear seat, I could only see the back of Kotori's head, but I still could feel her tension.
小鳥、小鳥。
Amane approached. Today she took the day off to come here. She wanted to see the cockpit she designed in action. On top of that, she still hasn't seen any test flights on the improved glider.
なーに、あまねちゃん。私今忙しいんだけど。緊張しているな。空は怖いぞ。高いからな。
She said in extremely good mood.
そういう時は、人という字を手にたくさん書いて飲むといいんだぞ。
Kotori glared at her.
私、今気が立ってるから、からかうなら後にしてちょうだい。
It's more like getting even than making fun of her, though. Back when Senpai was scared before the original test flight, Kotori slapped her in the face many times with her hand when she wrote the person kanji on. Even Amane can be a little unexpectedly vengeful sometimes.
そんな君にこれを貸してやろう。
Amane held out the charm to prevent traffic accidents Kotori gave her the other day.
ありがとう、あまねちゃん。
I don't think this counts as traffic.
こちら配置につきました。
Asa, who was in charge of operating the winch, said this over the radio.
よーし、じゃ飛びますか。小鳥、大空のデート楽しんできてね。
The canopy was closed. I felt the tension rising. We did the final checks and prepared for takeoff. From the rear seat, I gauged Kotori's mood. She was nervous. It seemed she was itching to do this. Do you remember the takeoff procedure?
ちゃんとシミュレータで予習してきたわ。
Amane's simulator also covered takeoff and landing. Even if the controls are a bit different due to Kotori's disability, I'm sure she's at least memorized all of the procedures. Then let's go. I gave Agya the sign that we were ready. Agya then signaled to Asa that the takeoff preparations were complete. The winch started up. The glider that Kotori and I were riding in ran down the runway. In mere seconds, the white airframe with huge spread wings left the ground to soar high in the sky. When we released the towing rope, turn around and confirm the separation with your eyes. The winch was pulling the glider using a towing rope. A long rope connected by the... We already know what that is. To connect by the hook at the bottom of the glider. Then, when the releasing lever is pulled, the hook should disconnect. If it failed to disconnect, it could cause a major accident. If the glider passes over the winch, the hook is designed to automatically disconnect when it's pulled back. But the system isn't perfect.
平行策の離脱を確認。
Kotori visually confirmed the falling parachute. Alright, takeoff successful. So today we'll start with the basics of flying.
はい。
I explained the glider's basic operations to Kotori. from normal turns to steep turns and other important points. If it's just a normal glider flight, there aren't that many operations to be remembered. The only complicated procedures are during takeoff and landing. Besides those, there was also practice on how to recover from unexpected situations like stalls and spins. While those are vital to prevent accidents, it isn't necessary to teach her those right now. Alright, give it a try.
はい左旋回行きます
Kotori grasped the levers which operate the control stick and rudder. Kept my hands on the control stick, but didn't put any strength in it. Hold on, let me just check something. Okay, I'll deleted all the screenshots for the last parts. The glider banked to the left and started turning. We're slipping, step on the rudder a bit more. In Kotori's case, she couldn't exactly step on it, but I said it like it was like this out of habit. Slipping means that the nose is pointing in the opposite direction of the bank of the wings. Right now, the glider was banked left and was about to turn in that direction. If the nose was facing right during the turn, the airframe would fly somewhat sideways. In short, if the nose isn't facing the direction of travel and you leave it as is, the lift will decrease and the airframe will drop more than necessary. Kotori leaned the lever which operated the rudder. The nose of the plane faced inward. When the glider regained balance, it smoothly turned left. Pay attention to the yaw string. The yaw string resembles an earthworm and is attached to the front of the canopy where the air current hits. It is a very simple but useful gauge made from knitting wool. When you're turning left or right, the yaw string indicates a slip or a skid. The single piece of thread will lean outward when the plane is slipping and inward when it's skidding. If it's stretched straight during the turn, the airframe is balanced and you can perform a clean maneuver. If the yaw string is bent, you should apply more rudder in the opposite direction. Now one more time, try turning right.
Hi!
The fuck is that orange thing anyway? While checking the yaw string, Kotori operated the control stick and rudder. Got it banked right. This time was turning smoothly and properly balanced.
皆さん、アイスを買ってきたのでどうぞ。ああ、ヨルちゃん気が利くねー。やったー、アイスだー。どう姉さん。まだ飛んでるよ、小鳥先輩。よくわからないけど、初めてじゃないみたいに上手。小鳥はすごいなー。もう私よりうまいぞ。あの子、シミュレーターをあの子、もともと運動神経はいいみたいだし。それに、シミュレーターをかなりやり込んでたものね。知ってたんだ。偶然見ちゃっただけです。秘密基地でコソコソしてるから、何してるのかと思って。努力してる姿を人に見せない小鳥先輩、かっけーです。単に張り切ってるのバレるのが恥ずかしかっただけだと思うけど。でも、小鳥が努力家なのは間違いないわね。
Kotori's flight training continued. We were gradually losing altitude, but we still had some margin. That's thanks to Kotori keeping the sink rate to a minimum. The airframe gliding through the empty air lightly shook upwards for a moment.
何？今の。
Probably thermal. If we get on it, we could fly higher.
了解!
Kotori turned the glider around and searched for the spot we passed just now. Whee! That was a reaction.
あった！サーマル!
Thermals have cores. To find those, you should fly in circles with a small radius, if possible. Kotori searched for the core while flying around slowly, drawing a figure 8. Suddenly, our rate of climb increased noticeably.
あった！あそこね。
As As Kotori found the core, she leaned the control stick and tried to make a sharp turn. Whoa! Glider turned while maintaining a steep bank angle. As we turned sideways, we were assaulted by a strong G-force. Felt as if all my blood went to one side. My consciousness got a bit hazy. I'm not controlling a glider myself. I can't predict when the G-force will kick in. It's quite tough. While thinking that, I shouted, "Be more gentle when you're turning!"
ごめん。
Kotori loosened up on the control stick. The bank got shallower and the G-force weakened.
今のダメだった？
Take a good look at the variometer. Even though the glider should have entered the thermal core, it was actually sinking. When you bank deeply, the sink rate will also increase. You should find just the right amount of turning radius while judging the strength of the thermal. If the turning radius is small, the bank gets too steep and the glider loses altitude. Nevertheless, to be able to climb, you'd have to find a thermal strong enough to raise the airframe despite this issue. If the thermal's core is very strong, it's better to bank a little steeper to stay within it. Of course, there's a limit. But otherwise, it's necessary to keep the bank shallow to reduce the sinking rate.
要は臨機応変ってことね。
Yeah, so who's the idiot who made a steep turn to stay inside the core? No matter how strong the updraft in the core, it won't carry the glider upward if it's banked too steeply. Furthermore, the consistent G-force will really make you lose consciousness before long.
だって今すぐもっと高く飛びたいんだもん。
Kotori said this impatiently. Damn, what a daredevil! However, the turn itself was very neat. I watched the yaw string and there was almost no slip. At first glance, it seemed unreasonable, but in reality, it was a beautiful, perfectly balanced turn. Sink rate was also kept to minimum. There's no need to rush. It's better to climb slowly. Kotori replied cheerfully, then maintained an appropriate bank to make the glider climb.
ああ、くるくる回ってる。サーマルを捕まえたのね。おお、あんなに高く。見ているだけで怖いぞ。初フライトで張り切りすぎじゃないかしら。ちょっと、葵、聞こえる？
What is it, Agea?
上がりすぎじゃないの？
We caught a great thermal, it's fine, I'm backing her up.
ならいいけど。小鳥、あんまり無茶するんじゃないわよ。
You heard her, don't overdo it.
わかった。
Kotori responded, concentrating on flying. She was completely focused on riding the thermal. I was honestly surprised when I gazed at the ground, getting distant. There's almost nothing left to teach her. When it comes to basic operations, she's almost perfected everything. She's beyond a fast learner. But how many times you use the simulator, it's not the same as actually flying. But Kotori got the hang of it right away and was able to catch an invisible thermal and take the glider higher. Piloting skills. No, her senses might be far above the rest of us.
空が近づいてきた。
Kotori muttered while gazing out through the canopy. Meanwhile, the glider continued climbing steadily. It's a good thermal, it's quite strong. There's quite a bit of crosswind right now, so be careful. When I said this, Kotori looked down.
こんなに高い。地上の景色が霞んで、なんだか現実の景色じゃないみたい。
That's because we're twice as high up from the Tokyo Tower right now. Right now, our altitude is approximately 700 meters. We caught a good thermal and Kotori ended up climbing this high on her first
風
flight.
車の丘ってあんな形してたのね。まるで三日月みたい。
From this height, being directly above the windmill hill, we could see all of it with one sweep of the eye. The hill ran alongside the lake in a circular shape. That shape catches the breeze blowing from above the lake. The wind gets stronger as it travels up the hill and it rotates the windmills.
へえ。
The wind that blows from above the lake gets caught by the half-moon-shaped hill, gathers there and gets stronger, then runs up the hill. The windmills were built there because of this phenomenon.
気持ちいいね。飛ぶのって。
Kotori sighed softly, her voice carrying a hint of pain.
すごく自由な感じ。足のことなんて忘れちゃいそう。
When she's flying, she doesn't need her legs. Only in times like these does she truly seem free. I know it. Suited you better to fly on your own instead of having someone else fly for you. Kotori thought about it a little before answering.
そうかも。私、小鳥って名前でしょ？小さい頃から、なんとなくいつも空を見上げてたの。飛んでみたいなって思いながら、まさか叶うなんて思ってなかったけど。
My name. My father picked it. His hobby was photography. He would often take pictures of the sky. He told me that on the day I was born, the sky was deep blue, and that's why he named me Aoi.
へえ。じゃあ、ここは葵くんの故郷みたいなもんだね。
Yeah, kind of the same. I replied while smiling at our embarrassing exchange. Thinking about it, it's actually kind of funny. Both of them, like, they went into their hobbies because of their desire for this, basically. She wanted to do as many things that allowed her to jump higher and higher because she wanted to be closer to the sky, and he adored the biking because of the feeling of the wind while he ran down the slopes. Now that you mentioned it, there was a clear blue sky on the day I heard about it. Heard how I got my name too. It was special to me. I didn't miss anything. But well, after that, I learned that the kanji for my name actually refers to a greenish blue color. It's a little disappointing.
空の上って気持ちいい。ずっと飛んでいられたらいいのに。
Rising into the sky in a glider felt marvelous, as if he were released from the bounds of gravity. So Kotori's profile as she gazed outside the canopy. She looked like she was thinking about a faraway birthplace. But be careless, remember, always pay attention to the airflow. Otherwise we'll lose altitude. Kotori answered vigorously and gripped the control stick more firmly.
こっち片付け完了しました。お疲れさー。今日はこれでおしまいね。
We flew until sunset and then left the field. Between maintenance and rest time, we got in 5 flights.
今日は1回のフライトが長かったよね。
That's because there were some great thermals. The flight had the ideal soaring conditions. The best way to learn is to fly as much as possible. Because the number of times we can fly is limited, it's best to be in the sky as long as possible. Kotori made a lot of progress today, to the point where she can even take off and land.
小鳥は本当にすごいな。同じ人間とは思えないぞ。
Senpai had been impressed the whole time today. It's all thanks to the carpet that you designed.
役に立ってよかった。
By the way, where'd you go?
あの人なら外にいたわよ。片付けサボってぼーっとしてた。
Yoru, who just returned inside, told us.
今日はもう終わりだって言ってきて。
Alright. Outside of the secret base, Kotori was gazing up at the sky absent-mindedly. What are you doing?
体が揺れてるように感じるの。まだ空の上にいるみたい。
This is the top of the hill. If you raise your gaze a little, the ground disappears from your field of vision, and it looks like you were floating in the sky. Even though it was your first flight, you were flying for quite a long time. Kotori looked up into the sky with a hint of pain in her eyes. It's as if she was yearning for it.
どうしよう。私、明日からもう普通じゃいられないかも。だって、こんなに楽しいことをしちゃって。頭の中が空っぽになっちゃったみたい。
I also felt like that on the day of my first flight. To the point I thought living with your feet on the ground was annoying. Well, we'll fly again, as much as we want. We spent the whole year preparing for that. The sky, that was so clear and blue during the daytime, was now filled with countless twinkling stars. Kotori's eyes that gazed up at that sky so yearningly were sparkling just like the stars. few days before the end of August. At the start of summer vacation, nearly half the Flying Fish Manor residents left to visit their homes. It's been a while since the building was this crowded.
野菜切り終わりました。こっちもできたわ。鍋煮えてるわよ。次どうするの？これオーブンに入れて焼くのよね。何分くらい？
Everyone was asking for my instructions at once. I felt like a master chef. Put the cut vegetables into boiling water. Cover the pot, let it boil for around 10 minutes. Don't put it in the oven yet. Bake it together with these. While I was quickly rattling off instructions, I was also doing my own work. It's been a while since I had prepared dinner for such a large number of people.
私は何をすればいいかな？
No. Amine, please sit over there and watch TV.
危ないから包丁持っちゃダメよ。かな、あまねちゃんのおもりよろしく。はいよ。望月先輩、こっちで一緒にテレビ見ましょう。私も何かしたいのに。
Kanako dragged the eager to help Amane in front of the TV. The people and food, the heat from the oven and the fire from the stove, all that mixed together seemed like a battlefield. How did it suddenly come to this? ついに合宿だよ、ヨルちゃん。ワクワクだね。別にいつもと変わらないと思うんだけど。自分の部屋で寝るんでしょ？ That's right. It begins today. Our soaring club's training camp. Though to be honest, nothing has really changed. Augusta returns home and Amane still only comes here for free food. So if I were to say what this training camp was all about, it was the early morning watch duty that we held just like last year. The morning glory should appear by the end of summer. It wouldn't be strange for it to appear at any time now. Being on watch duty meant staying overnight at the secret base and watching for any changes in the sky. We're starting immediately from the night onwards. I prepared dinner earlier than usual to take the opportunity and organize a meeting afterwards. Right, it's done! 美味しそうな料理がたくさん. Help me bring it to the table. はい. The food that everyone prepared was lined up on the table. The sight of so much food served on large plates kind of felt like a training camp indeed. 久しぶりの葵くんのご飯だ。お腹すいたよ。もう食べていい？Before we start, President Kotori has a few things she'd like to say. And announces Kotori cleared her throat with authority. 皆さん、この一年、本当にご苦労様でした。いよいよ、私たちの目標であり、夢でもある、モーニンググローリーを飛ぶ日が近づいてきています。本番は一度きり、失敗は許されません。夏が終わるまでの間、気合を入れて、絶対に失敗しないよ。長いぞ、小鳥。もうお腹ペコペコだよ。ねえ、私ソアリング部じゃないし、先に食べてていいかな。こいつら。Come on, if it was gonna get cold. わーったわよ。美味しいもの、お腹いっぱい食べて、気合入れていくわよ。はい、いただきまーす。Everyone scrambled for the food at once. たくも、気分台無しだわ。If you go all out like this, you won't last very long. そんなことないもん。私は最後の一兵になっても戦うわ。I'm not sure what she wants to fight for, but her fighting spirit is admirable. Ever since she flew the glider for the first time the other day, she has had excessive motivation. Over the past few days, she's been practicing flying from dawn till dusk, and she didn't show a tired face even once. Piloting skills have really improved. あの綺麗な雲がまた見られるんですよね。そういや、朝ちゃんは去年の雲を風車の丘から見てたんだっけ？はい、すごく綺麗でした。あの雲も空を飛ぶグライダーも。でも、あれよりもすごいんですよね。あれは厳密にはモーニンググローリーとは、呼べないものだったからな。I'm gonna say about eating in a usual messy way. あまねちゃん、食べるか喋るかどっちかにして。
あれこそが今年の夏に本物のモーニンググローリーが来る予兆だったんだ。
Today we learned that the cloud we saw last year was a big sign that a real morning glory was very likely to appear this year. It happened a few hours ago.
以上のデータが私の推論の根拠だ。
Senpai said as she showed a variety of data displayed on the computer screen.
つまりこの夏の終わりにモーニンググローリーが発生する可能性は非常に高い。
Senpai's words filled the place with tension and excitement. We heard Senpai's presentation and felt that her reasoning was believable.
質問いいでしょうか。なんだい？可能性が高いというのはどのくらいなんでしょうか。そうだな。詳細な数字までは言えないが、大雑把に計算しておよそ 30% ってところじゃないかな。引く！ちょっとそれのどこが高いのよ。
That's quite high.
全く起こらないのが普通だとしたら随分と高い方なんじゃないかしら。
It was just as Yoru said. The phenomenon known as morning glory occurs in Kazegawara only once a decade or so.
でもそれだとむしろ大安売りってことじゃない？去年にも規模は小さいものの出現してるわけで。私と葵くんがフライトした1年前のあの雲は厳密にはモーニンググローリーとは呼べない。じゃあ何なの？ただの出来損ないだ。だがそれも推論の根拠となっている。これを見てほしい。
I'm gonna move the mouse and show us some more data on the screen. Senpai got that data from a new windmill model construction project that's detailed weather data from around Kazegawara. That N wasn't there before. And the A and G were switched. She's analyzed it and reached the conclusion she told us just now. Currently, two sets of data were displayed.
これが去年のあの雲が現れた日のデータで、こっちが28年前の8月26日のデータだ。
August 26th, 28 years ago. This data didn't ring any bells. This date didn't ring any bells at all. The data taken from the two completely different years truly resemble each other.
似てるわね。どういうこと？はっきりとした記録はないが、この日、モーニンググローリーの出来損ないが風ヶ浦で発生していたらしいんだ。どういうことですか？つまり、出来損ないの雲が現れた翌年に、本物のモーニンググローリーが現れる可能性が高い。と言いたいんでしょ？
Senpai nodded. He stared at the monitor intently. At first, no matter how long we stared, they were just lists of meaningless numbers to us. But if Mochizuki Ominous says so, that alone was good enough for us. This data made our 1 year-long wait appear meaningful in the end.
それって、夏の終わりじゃなきゃ発生しないものなんですか？それはほぼ間違いない。発生のメカニズムは先ほど説明した通り、湖上空の水蒸気に筑波山に遮られていた湿った空気が流れ込み、それはもう分かったから。
Kotori quickly stopped Amane, who started explaining everything from the beginning again. Compared to listen to such a complicated explanation again, got the gist of it, and that was good enough.
いよいよってわけね。
Yeah, we'll have another chance after we failed last year. Couldn't stop my lips from forming a daring smile. And thus, we got all fired up after listening to Amane's explanation. That's why we gathered like this, to have a feast. The problem lies with flight planning. We must revise Senpai's data. While I was eating the food, I discussed with everyone my thoughts after hearing Senpai's explanation.
去年、私と葵くんが飛んだあの雲は、だいたい上空 1km あたりに現れていた。けど、OB の高校日誌によると、27年前のモーニンググローリーは上空 2km。 さらに1キロ高く飛ばないといけないのか。
Aya placed her hand on her chin and thought about it. 2-kilometer height isn't really high for a cloud, but since we are using the winch launch, we have yet to experience flying at such an altitude.
せめて飛行機があったらな。そんな高さまで上がれるサーマルなんてあるの？
It could be, but thought about everything. Problem is that the morning glory appears around dawn.
どういうこと？サーマルがほとんどないんだ。夜の間に地表は冷やされて、温まるまでに時間がかかる。けれど、日の出を待ってそれからのんびり上がったんじゃ間に合わない。
It's the sunlight that warms the ground up. And until the ground surface heats up, thermals won't appear. And now to the simple explanation and add one more thing. If possible, it's the best to take off before sunrise while it's still dim.
でもそれじゃサーマルを見つけるのは難しいと。逆に湖の上にならサーマルがあるんじゃないかな。
The way heat is transferred is different between land and water. Land easily heats and cools, but with water it's slower. That's why the temperature over lakes or seas is lower than above the ground during the day, creating a gentle downward draft. But at night it's the opposite. The ground cools first. But above lakes that haven't cooled down just yet, updrafts are forming. No, it's not that easy. It's like that at midnight, but at dawn, even the lake has already cooled down.
だよね。
After all, if you don't find other ways to ascend, we learned from our failures last year. That's why we are talking together about the flight plan. We've already talked about it countless times, but with the new data, we have something more solid to discuss. Yodo gave us a sidelong glance and said with a sigh.
けど、発生しない確率の方が高いわけよね。それなのにそんなに張り切っちゃって。肩透かしだった時大丈夫なの？その時はその時よ。来年か、また再来年にでもチャレンジすればいいわ。
But if it comes this year, we absolutely cannot miss the chance. Kotori-Route nodded in agreement with my words that were filled with a strong will. These two didn't forget last year's frustration.
そうしてまた、超留年生が生まれるのね。ソアリング部の伝統として受け継がれていくのかも。そんなの、あまねちゃんだけで十分。私らも、さすがにそこまではね。いいじゃないか。人よりたくさん学生生活ができてお得だぞ。
Kotori firmly clenched her fist.
あまねちゃんのようにならないためにも、一発で決めるわよ。
Aga and I nodded agreement with serious expressions.
ところで、誰が乗るんですか？だって、あのグライダー二人乗りですよね。
Asa asked an innocent question, a point that didn't cross anyone's mind so far. We all looked at each other. Then almost simultaneously, we all turned our eyes to Amane.
私は乗らないぞ。上空 2km なんて想像しただけで怖いからな。あまねちゃんは、本当にそれでいいの？あの人どかなかった場所に、今度こそ行けるかもしれないのよ。
Senpai quickly shook her head.
言っただろ。私がここでこうしているのは、君たちを手伝うためだって。
She clearly declared this. She got a little sad. For Senpai, the glider is already a thing of the past.
まあ、それはおいおい考えればいいんじゃない？それより、今はどうやって上がるかよ。
That's right. It's not that we don't have a plan for the time being. During our meal, everyone exchanged ideas. The arguments became increasingly heated. The arguments, I almost said it like Jesus Christ. The bath is free. I walked into the dining hall while I was drying my hair with a bath towel. Usually I take a bath after everyone else, but today I went in first. In the dining hall, everyone was playing cards.
姉さん、ババを引いたわね。そんなことないよ。全然、朝ちゃんは素直でわかりやすいの。
Did Amina hit home already?
お腹いっぱいになったからって。葵にごちそうさま言っといてってさ。あまね先輩が食いしん坊でよかったよね。 おかげでこうして遊びに来てくれるもん。
If that wasn't the case, she would have been secluding herself in her workplace all the time. She could have even stopped exchanging poorly written messages with us. Hooray for gluttony! And Kotori
部屋でこそ練してんじゃないかな。
on the simulator. The other day, Kotori borrowed Hibari's laptop. She has been using it to practice on the simulator in her room. However, it appears that Kotori doesn't think showing her hard-set working side to anyone would be a virtue, so she persistently denies that she's like that. That's why everyone is calling it sneaky practice. That's why everyone is calling it sneaky practice.
私呼んできましょうか？
No, it's fine. I don't want to bother her.
でも、葵先輩、もう行っちゃうんですよね。
It's not that I won't be able to see her for a long time. I just want to see her face, nothing else. Well then, I'll prepare to leave.
喉乾いた。お、やっと出てきた。あんた、まだいたんだ。あまねちゃんはもう帰ったの？帰ったよ。でもって、私もそろそろ帰るところ。気をつけてね。葵なら、もう出てったわよ。嘘！もうこんな時間？彼氏ほっぽり出してシミュレーターに夢中とは。さすが、空に片思いしてる女ね。いってらっしゃい言いたかったのに。
Man, you really have a great view of the stars here. While gazing up the slope of the Windy Mill Hill, I gazed at the starry sky that spread over it. It was clear today, so you could see the stars really well. On top of that, from the Windmill Hill, there are fewer obstructions to block the view. Just like last year, the glider was assembled and stood at the runway, covered with a sheet. However, we are doing watch duty from the secret base. The view from there is definitely better than from the garden in the Flying Fish Manor. I don't know when the changes in the sky will occur. It wouldn't be an exaggeration if I said you have to spot them the second they appear, or you can miss them. However, you can't leave a lone girl for a whole night in such a remote location. Besides me, everyone will do watch duty in pairs. I'm dropping them off and picking them up too. Even with two people, I'd be worried to let them walk all the way here during nighttime. In the wide area around here, there's nothing but solar panels and windmills. The sight gave me the impression that mankind had perished and only machines remained on this world. Inside my pocket, my cell phone chimed. A message. It was from Kotori. I'm sorry I was in my room and didn't notice in time. I wanted to see you off and say goodnight. The message made my heart feel warm and fuzzy. Fluffy. I didn't realize it, but it seems like I miss her. Tomorrow morning I'll get up early and wait for you. Good night. Smiled unconsciously. Man, that was nice. Those were just some trifling words, but they made my heart feel strangely at ease. Thanks for your message. You're practicing hard, right?
なんで練習してたってバレてるんだろう。
There will be flight practice tomorrow too, so don't overdo it and go to sleep early. When I get back, could you help me get breakfast ready? Love you. Good night.
好きだよ。だって。キュンとしちゃった。おやすみ、葵くん。よーし、明日に備えて寝るぞー。クワックワッ。その前に、私も好きだよってメールしよっ
と。お、いたいた。おーい、あげは
ー。おお、麻婆じゃん。それに、あかりさんも。
I like.
こんにちは、姫木さん。約束通り、見学させてもらいに来たわ。
どうも、こんにちは。お待ちしてました。どうぞ、存分に見てってください。
で、 そのグライダーはどこにあるんだ？
今、訓練飛行中。だいぶ高く上がってるから、ああ、いたいた。
どこだ？
この双眼鏡を使ってください。
ありがとう。どのあたりかしら？
ほら、長細い雲がある下あたりに、翼が太陽の光を反射してるのを見えません？ああ、今光った。
あれがそうなの？グライダーが飛んでいるところは初めて見たけど、すごいのね。あんなに高く。
日によりますけど、理論上なら、それこそ雲の上にだって行けますから。ほれ、マボも見てみ。
おー、ほんとだ！すげえ飛んでる！エンジンついてないんだろ？よく飛べるな。
誰が操縦を？
小鳥です。
ハバネさんが？
空を飛ぶのに足を使う必要はありませんから。葵が一緒に乗って教えてるんです。
なるほど。
おいおい、やべえぞ！なんか回転しながら落ちてる！
The glider was falling towards the ground, spinning in a corkscrew. The field of vision was spinning and we lost a sense of balance. G-force assaulted our bodies while facing the outside of the turn. Deal with it calmly, you can do it just like I taught you! First, set the ailerons in neutral. Kotori returned the control stick to the neutral position. Next, apply full rudder in the opposite direction to the spin. Even before I gave the instructions, Kotori was already steering the rudder in the opposite direction of the rotation. And then she immediately leaned the control stick forward. Try rising the nose. That's enough for the main wings to regain lift. Finally, when the nose rose to the point where the airflow could run along the surface of the wings, the lifting power came back. When the rudder was returned to neutral, the glider returned to a normal flight as if nothing had happened. Alright, recovery successful. When we stabilized and looked at the scenery outside, Kotori sighed deeply in relief. It's not like we avoided an accident just now. I made the glider spin on purpose. That's because we're in the middle of a spin recovery practice at the moment. We barely lost any altitude. Good job, Kotori.
さすがに普通のストーリーより焦るわね。
Stall happens when the airflow peels off the main wings and they lose lift. Without lift, the glider will fall. However, if you know how to deal with it, recovery is possible. To learn this, you have to cause stall on purpose and practice the recovery. This is one of the most important training exercises for a glider pilot. The exercise we're doing right now involves recovering from a spin, a very dangerous situation among various stalls. A spin is when the fuselage rotates like a corkscrew while falling. In the worst case scenario, you can completely lose control of the plane and have no choice but to escape using a parachute. Even though you were a little flustered, you still dealt with it quite precisely. Were you scared?
あんまりリカバリーできるイメージが頭の中にあったからかな。
I see. Stall can be very scary and can throw the pilot into disorder. It's terrifying when the airframe is rotating and falling, so it's only natural that you'd want to recover as quickly as possible. However, if you make a mistake in confusion, you can worsen the situation instead. It could even lead to the worst case scenario. Kotori could recover so quickly because she calmly assessed the situation and steered only as much as needed. She was so composed during her first spin recovery. Remember, I was pretty scared and flustered the first time I practiced this maneuver.
なんとなく感覚はつかめてきたわ。
Don't get cocky. If you forget how dreadful stalls and spins are, your reaction might get delayed. Stall recovery practice has two meanings. The first is learning recovery techniques, and another is familiarizing yourself with the indications that a stall or spin is about to occur. There are several signs. You can tell that from the meters, but it's also important to get a feel of steering or sense the G-force that is transmitted to your body. When you understand those and your body remembers the feeling, you can prevent stalls. Learning the recovery is very important, but it's always best to avoid a stall. It's thanks to practices like these that saved Donovan and me last year.
あの時は見ていてヒヤヒヤしたわ。 下降気流にはまったんだっけ？
A year ago, we encountered a strong downdraft, suddenly lost lift, and started falling. Even though we were taken by surprise, we still managed to level the aircraft. I think it's thanks to mastering all the skills during practice. Alright, let's find a thermal and head back up one more time. Continue this practice, we will rise to a high enough altitude where it'll be possible to recover safely.
なるほど。意図的にそういった状態にして、そこから回復する訓練を行っていたのですか。
危ねえことするんだな。
大丈夫よ。いざとなったら葵がフォローするから。
やはり、空を飛ぶというのは、それだけ危険なことなのね。
あいつら降りてこないぞ。
また上がってもう一回やるんでしょ。私らには、あんまり時間が残されてないからね。
どういう意味かしら。
天音先輩の予言によると、あと10日以内に、モーニンググローリーが現れる可能性が高いんです。
モーニンググローリー？
湖の上に、大きな雲の回廊がかかるんです。それを飛ぶのが、私たちの目的だから。
望月先輩が写真立てに飾っていた、あの不思議な雲のことね。
小鳥にその気があるなら、あの子をメインパイロットにして飛ばせてやってもいいんじゃないかって、葵たちとも話してるんです。本人にはまだ内緒なんですけど。まずはみっちりしごいて、本当に小鳥でいけるのか見極めないと。
そう。それにしても、変わったわね、幅根さん。慶風学園に入学してきた頃から随分と。
そんな頃から知ってるんですか？
ええ、もちろんよ。足の不自由な生徒が入学してくると聞いて気にかけていたのよ。
さすが。生徒会長になるために生まれてきたお人だわ。
まあ、同じ学年で知らない奴はいなかったけどな。態度超悪いって言う。
だよねー。2年で同じクラスになった時はどうしてやろうかと。
どうした？誰だあれ？
あれって。
Is it a... Do I have to smack a bitch? Do I have to smack a bitch? Kotori, while turning inside the thermal, was gradually increasing altitude. Think it'll be enough soon?
もう少し上がれそう。もっと高く飛んでもいい？
The purpose of today's training was to cover stall recovery, and there's no reason to fly higher than this. When Kotori asked like this, I couldn't say no. Sure, let's try flying as high as we can. Catching thermals to fly high is also an important practice after all.
ありがとう。
Kotori flew the glider inside the updraft, climbing higher and higher into the sky. Alternatively, it's gonna be Tobioka with her dad, because he decided, okay, I'm going to make the dad realize how dangerous it is and have her pulled out, because Yoru is technically not a member of the soaring club. Therefore, they would be down to 3 members and wouldn't be allowed to keep the club running anymore. And like that, I will beat Tobioka over the head with a fucking leaden pipe. Kotori flew the glider inside the updraft, climbing higher and higher into the sky. As if this was a place you always wanted to go.
入道雲って成層圏まで突き抜けてるんでしょ？
They're really big.
その中へ入れば、私たちも成層圏まで飛べるのかしら？
You might be able to fly up there, but it's better not to try the cumulonimbus cloud things, in cumulonimbus clouds, things like turbulence, downbursts, lightnings and such can occur. It's too dangerous. Even jumbo jets will avoid cumulonimbus clouds if they can. Besides, the sky at these heights is like an unknown world for us. Even if we were to reach there safely, there's no guarantee we would return safely.
空って高いのね。
And beyond this, there's space. Kotori muttered, "Space, huh?" absentmindedly as she gazed outside the canopy. The profile looks like that of a child staring at something mysterious. Hamane's eyes had a hidden curiosity of a young kid, but Kotori had an even more childish impression. She just wanted it. Such a pure emotion is what came to my mind. You said that about me before. That I look the best when I'm gazing at the sky.
そうよ。ため息が出るくらいかっこいいわ。
Well, as for you, I think flying in the sky like this suits you the best.
そうかな。
Makes me think this is the true Kotori. She gave me a fleeting glance and asked.
本当の私？
Yeah, I know how you were in the past. That's just what I feel. Sitting behind you and flying like this makes me really excited. It's strange, but since I started flying, I've had a feeling that I got to know her much better. The expression she has only when she is flying, face only I have seen. By excited, I mean I want to get to know her even better and see more of her.
本当の私？
Kotori much about thinking. Sorry I said something weird during this flight. Forget it.
一時的に忘れる。
Alright, we're high enough. This time cause a spin yourself and never cover. Then go ahead. As instructed, Kotori stretched the glider into a spin. After practicing so much, Kotori got tired, so we decided to land for a while. This practice put some strain on the fuselage too, so it needed to be checked up. Above the runway, the glider entered the final approach. Crosswinds are strong today. Approached the runway with the nose turned more into the wind.
了解。
With Kotori's precise steering, the glider swooped down onto the runway safely.
おかえりなさい、小鳥先輩、葵先輩。ただいまー。疲れた。
Kotori, who disembarked the cockpit and moved to her wheelchair, looked completely exhausted. Well, he flew quite a bit. I was also quite tired. We took more than enough safety measures, but that practice was still quite stressful.
おかえりなさい、ハバネさん。
生徒会長、来てたんだ。
下から見させてもらったわ。あなたたちが夢中になるのもわかる気がする。
でしょ？
On the ground, Akari and Masatsugu, who came at some point, were waiting for us.
さっきね、800メートルくらいまで上がったのよ。なんなら生徒会長も後で乗ってみる？
ええ。だけど、その前に。
Akari had an awkward expression for some reason. Hagia showed up from
小
behind her.
鳥、ちょっといい？何？あげ。
Kotori turned towards Agia and got dumbfounded when she saw who was standing behind her. However, the person might have been even more dumbfounded.
どうして、
Or not.
ひばり姉が。
Hibari was staring at Kotori in disbelief. Her face was pale and her knees were shaking a little. Or not. Suppose it wasn't Tobioka's fault then. She just wanted to check up on how everyone was doing, and she came at the worst possible moment. So no one will be beat with a leaden pipe. Well, maybe Tobioka still. Tobioka will always be beat with a leaden pipe. But you know, maybe her dad is going to be added to the equation now. Because he's going to be a massive whiny bitch about this. At first I thought she was angry, but I quickly realized it was something else. Hibari was shaking with fear.
小鳥ちゃん、
She called Kotori's name with a quivering voice as she approached her
どうし
unsteadily.
てこんな。違うのお姉ちゃん。これは。
Kotori wanted to make an excuse right away, but she was at a loss for
あな
words.
たが乗っていたなんて。お願い、落ち着いてひばりね。私の話を聞いて。
Slap. A sharp sound echoed around. Everyone nearby instinctively ducked their heads. The sound of Hibari's hand hitting Kotori's cheek.
じゃあ、あなたは自分がどうしてそんな体になってしまったのか忘れちゃったの？
Tears were mixed with Hibari's shout. Her knees trembled so much that it looked like she could collapse at any moment. It wasn't anger, it was fear.
忘れてないよ。でもこれは気球じゃない。私たちが作ったグライダー。
Oh, so now we know what caused it. I thought maybe it was like a traffic accident or something. Like it was a flying contraption as well. No wonder she didn't want them to find out.
同じよ。このことをお父さんやお母さんが知ったらどうなるか。あ、待って、それだけはやめて。そんなことしたらお父さんたちがどうなるか分かってて隠してたのね。ごめんなさい。でもこのことはお父さんたちに言うから。
Hibari said in the coldest voice I have ever heard from her and turned her back on Kotori.
待って、お姉ちゃん。
Kotori tried to chase after, but Hibari quickly walked
お
away.
姉ちゃん。
Kotori couldn't do anything but see Hibari's back and her vision blurred with tears. When we finished tidying up, we gathered at the office.
小鳥は
She went home earlier. We should leave her alone for a while.
そうね。で、結局何だったのあれは。
After that, the mood wasn't right to ask about her circumstances, so we just tidied everything up in silence. While everyone was getting here, I asked Kotori to the dorm. I only know that Kotori's legs got like that because of an accident. It seems that when she was on a trip, a hot air balloon she was riding had crashed. Apparently it was a trip to a popular tourist destination that offered these kinds of services. Kotori wanted to ride it, and she got on it with her mom. And it crashed. Everyone only had minor injuries, except for Kotori.
だからって、あの取り乱しようは普通じゃなかったわ。ひばりさん、まるで目の前で事故が起こったみたいに震えてたよね。
At the time of the balloon accident, Hibari and her father saw it from up close. And she saw Kotori getting out of the glider. It surely brought back the memories from back then. I knew that Kotori was hiding the fact that she was flying from Hibari. I thought that she just didn't want to worry anyone, but...
そんな事情があったなんてね。
I'm sure Kotori convinced Aga to keep it a secret too. Hibari knew about the soaring club, but she probably thought Kotori was only helping with maintenance and such.
あの人の家庭の事情はよく知らないけれど、娘がグライダーに乗ってるなんて知ったら、ご両親はさぞ心配するでしょうね。小鳥先輩がコックピットから降りてくるのを見たとき、ひばりさん、真っ青でした。どうしようかね、これから。
Oh no. First of all, let's try talking with Kotori later. And then we can try contacting Hibari. Still couldn't believe that Hibari slapped Kotori. That she was that frightened.
はっと、お姉ちゃんのこと、悲しませちゃった。いつも私のこと一番に考えて、優しくしてくれてたお姉ちゃんなのに。でも私、飛びたいんだもん。お姉ちゃんや、お父さんやお母さんに心配かけたくないけど、どうしても飛びたいの。どうすればいい？ねえ、ハット。どうして私は、飛びたいんだろう。今日はすみませんでした。お見苦しいところをお見せしてしまって。
No, me too. I'm sorry for keeping it all from you, even though I knew you were worried about Kotori. On my way home, I called Hibari to explain the situation. My Kotori joined the soaring club. What kind of club activities she's involved in, without hiding anything.
クラブ活動のおかげなんですよね。小鳥ちゃんが元気になっていったのは。
Yeah, I think so too.
でも、
I heard about the situation with Kotori. She's really worried about you. She blames herself and is really sad. She said that she'd try to call you when she's calmed down.
ありがとうございます、水瀬さん。私からもメールをしてみます。今は感情的になってしまって、ちゃんと話せそうにないので。
Yeah, please send her a message then. I hung up the phone and sighed a little. I could see Kotori's bedroom window from here, but the light was off. Did she cry herself to sleep?
おかえりなさい。
I'm back. When I stepped into the entry hall, I bumped into Kotori playing with Hat. She was smiling, but that might have been mere bravado.
もうお腹ペコペコよ。早くご飯にしましょう。
Yeah.
双子シスターズは？
They wanted to eat ramen, so they are eating out today.
ラーメンか。いいの？
They were just being considerate of me, though. Kotori took the ingredients out of the refrigerator and quickly started preparing dinner.
今日はハヤシライスだったわね。牛肉解凍しなきゃ。マッシュルームはと。
Are you alright?
どうかな？多分平気じゃないと思う。
Figures. I knew that Kotori was forcing herself to act cheerfully. But it seemed that she did blow off some of her worries, too.
お姉ちゃんとは落ち着いてから話してみる。黙ってたこと謝りたいし。でも、お父さんたちには内緒にしとかないといけない。
Keep them from worrying? Kotori shook her head.
お父さんにバレたら、無理やりにでも家に連れ戻されちゃうもん。だから、今はまだ黙ってないと。
But if Hibari tells you that...
やめてってお願いするつもりよ。夏休みが終わるまで て、期限付きで。そしたら、あとは自分で話すわ。もしお父さんとお母さんが、グライダーに乗っちゃダメって言うなら、その時は、すっぱり諦める。この夏で引退ってわけ。去年のあまねちゃんみたいでしょ？だから葵くんも。
Yeah, got it. I'm always on your
あ
side.
りがとう。葵くん。
Even though she was smiling as she said this, large tears started overflowing from her eyes.
あれ、なんだろう。なんで今頃泣いてるの私。
Kotori tried to wipe away her tears with both hands, but they kept flowing.
したからかな。葵くんが味方してくれるって分かって。
You didn't have to say anything. I leaned over to Kotori and hugged her gently. Kotori buried her face on my shoulder and sobbed.
お姉ちゃんに叩かれたの。初めてだよ。すごい、びっくりした。
Valia has always been so kind.
そうなの。優しいの。私の周りには、優しい人、いっぱいなの。なのに、私、自分勝手で。
I didn't say anything. I just brushed her hair until she cried herself out.
以上が、昨日起こった出来事に関係する、我が家の事情です。みんな、迷惑をかけてごめんなさい。
After explaining the situation to everybody, Kotori bowed her head deeply. Because I had only told everyone about the balloon accident, that Kotori had kept flying the glider a secret from her parents and Ibari. Nobody was surprised.
それはいいんだけどさ、あんたは続けられるの？そのつもり。少なくとも、この夏が終わるまではね。どういうことですか？ひばり姉にお願いしたの。夏休みが終わったら自分で話すから、それまでお父さんたちには黙っててって。
Although Ibari didn't agree with it, in the end, she granted Kotori's request. She was also a little sister dear to her.
お父さんたちがグライダーのこと知ったら、反対すると思う。それだけじゃないわ。きっと無理にでも、家に連れ戻されちゃう。そんな。だから、お父さんたちがダメって言うなら、私はこの夏で部活を引退するつもり。引退って、待ってよ。ごめん、アゲハ。
Age bit her tongue as Kotori apologized. She knew that persisting would only bother Kotori.
ソアリング部に席を置いていても、飛びさえしなければいいんじゃないの
Kotori shook her
多分、
head.
関わることも許してくれないと思う。それに、もう信じてはくれないだろうし。
You won't know how her father will react until it actually happens. But she did keep it a secret. It would be naive to think her parents would believe her again after that.
それに、みんなのおかげで、私はもう空を飛ぶ気持ちよさを知っちゃったから、二度と飛べないって分かってるのに、グライダーの近くに居続けるなんて、多分無理。みんな自分で蒔いた種だから、しょうがないわ。自己責任ってやつね。
Asa looked downhearted. Even Yoro seemed like she couldn't come to terms with this.
じゃあ、私も引退かな。
Wait a minute, what are you talking about?
だってさ、私は楽しいからやってるわけ。楽しくないならやる価値なし。小鳥がいないなら、もうやーんぴ。
I guess said and folded her arms behind her head, looking bored. You'll quit.
バカなことは言わないでよ。せっかくここまでやってきたんじゃない。あまねちゃん飛ばすために、みんなでグライダーを修理して、ガレージ壊されちゃった後も、朝たちのおかげで、こんな立派な活動場所を見つけて、やっと、機体の改良ができて、また飛べるようになって、ようやくまともに活動できるようになったんじゃない。だからでしょ？私はグライダーでも何でもよかったの。ロボット部の方が楽しけりゃ、 あっち続けてたと思う。でも、葵や小鳥や天音先輩と、ものづくりする方が面白いから、私はこっちを選んだの。小鳥、あんたと何かするのが楽しかったの。そのあんたがいなくなっちゃうんじゃん。なんかもうつまんない。
アゲハ。
Kotori stared at Agia with happiness, but also frustration. I think the same.
葵くんまで。
It's not that I wanted to fly a glider. Well, it is really fun and I like it a lot, but what I'm enjoying the most is flying with all my friends. If I only wanted to fly, I could have just gone to the gliding field this whole year and keep flying until I was sick of it. It was really fun and I'd like to continue doing it, but what I truly wanted wasn't flying. If we can't do it together...
朝のことはどうすんのよ。
Asa looked like she was about to cry.
私はいいんです。終わってしまうのは悲しいですけど、皆さんの熱い友情も素敵ですし、それに、私だって同じです。空を飛んでみたいからソアリング部に入ったんじゃありません。皆さんの仲間に入りたくて、ソアリング部に入ったんです。
朝。
無理しちゃって。無理してないもん。本当だもん。まあ、そうよね。ただ飛びたいだけなら、おじいちゃんにお願いすれば一発だものね。ってことで、あんたが引退するなら、ソアリング部は即時解散ね。ダメよ、そんなの。責任感じちゃうじゃない。感じればいいんじゃないかしら。実際あるわけだし。
You're the club president to begin with.
あんたらって。
話をまとめるわよ。夏が終わるまでは、今まで通り、全力でモーニンググローリーを目指す。その後は、知らん。ある意味今までと何も変わってないわね。頑張りましょうね、小鳥先輩。
These hardships can bring people closer. It appears everyone felt the same.
葵、ついでにあの話もしとく？
Ah, that's right. It's about the real thing. That is, when the morning glory appears. We thought that you should be the main pilot for that, Kotori. Asa clasped her hands, and Kotori made a troubled face as she listened to me in puzzlement. I've got enough skill to be the pilot. I don't have enough experience, but I can make up for it.
でも、葵くんだって自分で飛びたいんじゃ。
I can't say I don't. But even if someone else is piloting it, it's fine by me as long as we make it above those clouds.
アゲハたちはそれでいいの？
私はほら、別に飛びたいわけじゃないから。他に乗りたい人がいるなら、譲るのはやぶさかじゃないってところね。私は、先輩たちがそれでいいならいいです。私はただの部外者です。
みんな、ありがとう。私のために。
Kotori looked like she was almost moved to
ああ、
tears.
一つ訂正しとくけど、別にあんたのためじゃないからね。私は、私のためにやってるの。
Same here.
私もです。みー、
Kotori didn't know how to react and had a complex expression. The mismatch between her bewildered face and overflowing tears is slightly amusing.
だから、遠慮なんかするなってこと。
You can fly if you want to. You can fly if you want to. You can leave the ground behind. Kotori smiled cheerfully while tears started spilling from her eyes again. What the fucking thing that is. Need to start leaving this thing alone. I'm having way too much fun with that. Kotori smiled cheerfully while tears started spilling from her eyes again. I'm back! I'm better than ever! What? Huh? There was a note on the dining hall table. I'm going home for a bit, Kanako.
今日はカナいないんだ。
Well, I guess we'll have a sex scene now. that like holding it like this while saying that, very not good. Like, yes, we are going to have a sex scene now. That sent some messages I don't want to be sending. Yikes.
朝も夜もいないし、二人っきりね。
Seems so. Today was Asa and Yoda's turn for watch duties, so they were going to spend the night at the secret base. They said that they will eat over there and have bought some snacks at a convenience store. Felt like they were having a trip, even though they were conscious that we were all alone. We were acting like this weren't the case.
汗かいちゃったから、顔洗ってくる。
Kotori left the dining hall. Guess I'll get changed too. For some reason I got bothered by the sweaty smell too, so I went to my room and got changed.
いい？呼ぶまで絶対入ってきちゃダメよ。
Are you sure you'll be
大
alright?
丈夫だってば。ハト、葵くんが入ってこないよう見張ってて。もし入ってきたら、遠慮なく攻撃していいからね。
Hat threateningly flapped his wings. It couldn't be helped, so I left the kitchen. Seems like Kotori will be making dinner tonight. Since she didn't want me to see how she cooks, she kicked me out of the kitchen. Will she really be alright? Would she cut herself with a knife or burn herself by the stove? I got anxious and tried to peek through a gap in the door, but Hat was standing guard in front of the dining room like a loyal watchdog. It's not that I couldn't break through, but that would certainly make Kotori angry. Tonight, I'd rather avoid the situation where she wouldn't talk to me the whole night or something. Oh, I'm worried. If I could only see her, I probably wouldn't be that concerned. Since I couldn't see anything, I got unnecessarily anxious. Strained my ears to hear what was happening. When I thought about it, something suddenly occurred to me. Kotori's father knew about the glider. He'd probably feel like this. He probably doesn't know how much about gliders or any details about the Soaring Club's activities. He only knows that we are flying, nothing else. If he knew his daughter is doing something dangerous, he would surely end up worrying excessively. Hibari might have only granted Kotori's wish to wait until the end of summer, because she comes here every day and knows as well. The phone in the hall was ringing. I rarely used it since I had a cell phone, but it was ringing now. Hat put himself on guard when he saw me, but I walked beside him and went to the entry hall. Could it be Kanako? Hello, Flying Fish Manor.
管理人の水瀬さんはいらっしゃいますでしょうか。
I heard a man's voice. Speaking, may I ask who's calling?
川根小鳥の父です。
My mind instantly went blank. Ah! Good evening! As for her, right now
い
she's
え、小鳥に用事があるわけではないんです。
a little flustered. Her father corrected me. Huh? Then why might you be calling?
水瀬さん、あなたとお話がしたかったんです。
Speaking with me? What could he want to talk to me about? Did he really tell him about the glider and he was mad at me for keeping it from him? Or does he want me to tell him that does he want to tell me that he's going to take Kotori back home? I braced myself and listened to what Kotori's father had to
あなた
say.
にお礼が言いたくて。
Huh? Gratitude?
はい。ひばりからいろいろと話を伺いまして。
Hearing Hibari's name startled me a little, but I immediately realized there was nothing to worry about. Otherwise, there's no way he'd say anything about
先日
gratitude.
あの子が小鳥が帰省してきてくれたのは水瀬さんのおかげなのだと。
Oh, someone I know is playing Conception too. I actually still have to finish that.
帰るのを渋るあの子を説得してくださったとか。
No, I didn't
おか
really.
げで久しぶりに家族の時間を過ごすことができました。ありがとうございました。
You called specifically to tell me this?
お恥ずかしながらこんなことを言われても戸惑わせるだけだろうと分かってはいるのですが、どうしてもお礼を言いたくて。
No, not at all. I'm happy I could help, even if only a little. Didn't know what to say, so I just went with a diplomatic reply. He sounded to be about the same age as my own father. Kotori was happy too. She was very happy when she was telling us how she spent time
あ
at
の子
home.
がですか？
He replied with a surprised and deeply moved tone. Seems that such a trivial thing has made him really happy. Can't tell him that she was the most excited about the Pandas.
そうですか。あの子がそんな風に。
Yeah. It wasn't a lie. She was also very happy when she was talking about spending time with her
ひばり
parents.
やクラス担任の先生からそちらでの様子を伺っていたのですが、
So I had spoken with homeroom teacher too. In hindsight, it's only natural, but I hadn't thought about it
ク
until
ラス
now.
で浮いていることや特定の科目の成績だけ極端に悪いということも、親しい友人がいる様子はなく、だんだんと学校を休みがちになっていたとも。
He said bitterly. It had been worrying indeed. Just imagining her, how her father must have felt made my heart
それ
ache.
が昨年の夏頃からだんだんと変わってきて、今じゃ友達もできて成績も安定しているとか。
Yeah, when I started working here, she didn't get along with the other boarders, but now she has opened up to them, and they're on good terms now. I said this as cheerfully as I could. I wanted to erase his worries, if only a little.
ええ、ひばりから伺っています。皆さんが来てくださったからだと。学校でも小鳥が周囲に馴染めるよう尽力くださったと伺っています。
Well, it wasn't just me. Beating Alman and Agya and coming across the glider all had a huge impact. It's not that I did anything special, but I didn't tell him that. Should I go get Kotori? Since you called, you could
い
talk.
え、いいんです。
He refused
あの
clearly.
子はまだ私たちを許してはくれていません。
His voice, that had become slightly brighter, got
あ
gloomy
の子
again.
は隠していますが、私たちも気がついています。あの子が家を出たのは私たちのせいなんだと。あの子は本当は工学になんて興味がなかったのに。
Kotori had lied that she was interested in engineering and went to Keifu Academy. Her parents believed in her, and then soon realized it was a lie they heard about her once they heard about her grades. At the same time, the lie revealed another hidden desire. My mom and dad always looked sad. It was like my life had ended. It had continued for so long, I couldn't take it anymore and decided to leave the house. Those bitter thoughts had been revealed to her parents too. It was the reason why Kotori's father didn't see her up until her recent trip back
あの子
home.
に嘘をつかせた責任は私たちにあります。
The deflated voice came out of the receiver. It was obvious they had been living with this regret over the past few
あの子が
years.
家を出て行ってから我が家はまるで火が消えたようでした。けれどそんな家族がまた一つになれるかもしれない。先日小鳥が帰ってきてくれた時は家内も喜んでまるで昔に戻ったみたいでした。あの子がそちらへ戻った後、家内と話していたんです。もしあの事故がなければきっと今頃毎日があんな風に過ごせていたんだろうって。
Yeah.
ですがまた一緒に暮らせるようになるかもしれない。これもみんな水瀬さんのおかげです。
He sensed a tinge of bitterness in his voice as he said his thanks. It told me how hard it is on him. I think Kotori changed because she herself wanted to. I and everyone else simply got closer to her as friends. It wasn't because of her legs. You help friends in need, that's all. I think anyone would change a little from the influence of their friends. I wasn't sure if I conveyed that right, but her father thanked me once
娘
again.
のことをよろしくお願いします。
With those words, he hung up, put the receiver away with a sigh. If he had known about the glider, there was no way he would have thanked me like this. However, I didn't think I could tell him that. I didn't know what to do. It left me with a hazy feeling squeezing my chest.
電話してたの？
Huh? Yeah. For I noticed Kotori was
誰
behind
か
me.
ら？
The gardener. I thought I'd get them to do some drilling soon.
そう。ハットがあっちこっち続き回って荒れちゃってるものね。
I lied right away. Is dinner ready? I'm getting a little hungry.
できたわ。
Dinner was lined up at the dining hall table. Croquettes? That's my favorite food.
お口に合うといいけど。
A mound of croquettes was piled up on a large plate. All of them were fried to a neat light brown color, though a few cracked and lost their shape. I quickly took my seat. Can I eat?
いいよ。
Thanks for the food! As soon as I said this, I dug into the steaming hot croquettes. Oh, these are great. Some are a bit different, though.
そっちは肉じゃがコロッケよ。こっちのが普通のコロッケね。
Croquettes with meat and potatoes. Oh, I haven't eaten those before. Kotori was watching me happily as I was greedily munching on her cooking. When did you learn to cook those?
そのコロッケはね、お母さんの得意料理なの。
Ah, that means... Kotori nodded. She promised me this some time ago that she would make me something when she learned how to cook from her mom at home.
ごめんね、遅くなっちゃって。なかなかいいタイミングがなくて。
Oh yeah, it's hard to get the right timing when he's the one cooking all your meals. Usually. Croquettes do take quite a long time to make. Since our club activities kept us busy every day, she didn't have enough time. Does your mom's cooking? So it is what your mom's cooking tastes like.
お姉ちゃんもまだ教えてもらってない秘伝の味よ。
The coating was crisp and the filling was delectably soft. Few of them were a bit misshapen, but they were undoubtedly delicious. These go so well with rice. Seconds! I lifted up my rice bowl like a kid and Kotori happily moved her wheelchair to get me more.
どんどん食べてね。全部食べちゃってもいいから。
I'd like to do that because they were so good, but there were just too many. The large plate had 2 regular plates worth of croquettes piled up in a pyramid. I ate as many of Kotori's croquettes as my stomach would allow. Whew! I am full! After eating more than enough, I threw myself onto my bed. Thanks for the food, I'm completely satisfied.
喜んでもらえてよかった。
Praising her cooking made Kotori really happy. Oh, in a minute, okay, I'll be fine in the bed. I laid out on the bed until my stomach settled a little. Meanwhile, Kotori had been stealing glances at the bicycle standing in the corner of my room like it was a
ちゃんと手
decoration.
入れしてあるのね。
Yeah, it's sort of a habit. Can't sleep if I don't do it. Even though I don't ride
乗
anymore.
らないの？
I want to, but I can't. Glanced, Kotori looked at my right
全
knee.
然平気そうに見えるけど、そんなことないんだ。
I could probably ride around a little bit. There's no way I could race. Half-baked riding is no fun. Or rather, I probably want to go faster and eventually cross my limit and hurt my knee again.
葵くんがこの自転車で走ってるとこ、見てみたかったな。きっと、超かっこよかったと思うの。
I can show you. I got up and rummaged around my desk drawer, pulled out an album from it. My friends from the bicycle club made an album for me when I changed schools. It was filled with pictures from our club activities, various race results, etc.
へえ、素敵なお友達がたくさんいたのね。
When I got it, I thought it was a new way to torment me. I laughed as I said this, and Kotori looked at me in puzzlement. You know, they gave me something like this. They gave something like this to me when I was transferring to run away from bicycles. After I got it, I shoved it to the bottommost drawer for 1 year and forgot about its existence.
今は見られるようになったってこと？
I guess. All thanks to the glider and making new friends, I suppose. Now I appreciate their thoughtfulness. I don't have any bad memories from back then, after all.
あ、葵くんだ。若い。
Look a bit like a brat there. There's a photo from first grade. Look at it now, I appear really childish.
かわいい。いいなこの葵くん。なでなでしたい。
Saying a guy is cute isn't exactly a compliment, you know. He said it with a certain expression, but Kotori laughed at it as if she was saying that it's also cute.
自転車のユニフォーム姿の葵くんもかっこいいな。ねえ、これってすごくスピード出るんでしょ？どのくらい速いの？
Let's see, if I pedaled with all my strength, I could probably overtake a car driving the speed limit.
車より速いの？
There's no way I could keep that speed up for long though, but during the sprint right before the goal, when I'm driving using up my legs to the fullest, I can go pretty fast.
足を使い切る？
Basically using up all remaining energy.
へえ。うわ、これすごいね。坂を登ってる。
It's a hill climb. It's extremely tiresome.
みたいね。すんごい顔してる。
But you know, when you finish climbing the hill after struggling so much, there's a reward waiting for you. A reward called downhill.
ダウンヒル
This time you're descending down the hill. You go really fast. It feels absolutely great.
サーマルに乗って空の上まで上がった後、遠くまで滑空していくような感じかな。
I don't know. It's similar, but it's not quite that. The sense of speed is much more overwhelming on a bicycle. Driving across the ground brings a sensation of speed to a whole new level. It feels great to glide hundreds of meters high in the sky, but it's a completely different thing.
自転車か。
We're in the volleyball club, right?
最初スパイカーだったんだけど、セッターやれる子がいなくて途中で転校したの。私割と器用だったからどこでもこなせたし。
Wow, do you have an album or something? Kotori flashed an awkward
全
smile.
部捨てちゃった。
Ah, sorry I brought it up.
今このアルバム見ててちょっと後悔してる。嫌な思い出ってわけじゃないんだから取っとけばよかったって。
I would love to see you from back then. I bet you were really cute.
まあね、
She nodded quickly. No modesty,
ご
huh?
近所で評判だったらしいから美人姉妹って。どっちかっていうとお姉ちゃんの方がすごいモテモテだったけど、隣町からラブレターが届くなんてこともしょっちゅうだったし。
Ah, I can see that happening. I muttered what I honestly thought Kotori glared at me. But weren't you quite popular too? My heart throbbed a little as I
ま
asked.
あね、
Kotori answered, slightly
でもあ
embarrassed.
の頃は男の子のこととか全然興味なくて、お付き合いとかしたことなかったの。だから初めて好きになった男の子は葵くんよ。
She said a little shyly while smiling pleasantly. I was extremely happy, but by the way, about calling me Aoi-kun. It's been like this since before we started going out. You started addressing me without honorifics already?
そうかも。
And calling me without them now.
でもいきなりは難しいよ。
Why? Just stop adding kun, that's all. Go ahead, try it.
葵くん。
Hey.
だってなんか発音のバランスに問題があって、いきなり導入するのは難しいのよ。
Well, fine.
あ、すねた。ごめん、ちゃんと呼べるようになるから。
Make sure to do that.
約束する。
Then Kotori resumed flipping through the album. Aside from the photos, things like my race results were also in there. She probably didn't fully understand them, but viewed them enthusiastically nevertheless. Hey. The accident you got into was a balloon crash, right? Kotori raised her head. Aren't you afraid of flying a glider?
全然。
She answered right away. When Ibrahim saw Kotori getting out of the glider, she turned really pale. Seems that it must have been a rather serious accident. However, Kotori wasn't scared at all, even during the spin recovery training.
私、小さい頃から空に憧れてて、それで、旅行先で熱気球に乗れるって知って、わがまま言って乗せてもらったの。そしたら、事故に遭っちゃったんだけど、でも、あんな風に空を飛んだのは初めてだったから、すごく楽しかった。あの時、気球から見た景色は、今でも忘れてない。
So that part is a good memory, right? I could tell her response was completely honest. I had an accident during the downhill. A cyclist in front of me fell and I got caught with him.
そうなんだ。
But I certainly still remember how good the downhill feels. The race when I was able to get on the winner's podium is a good memory even now.
それ、アゲハが見られなくて、悔しがってたやつね。私も見たかったな。
Until then, I was fine with just riding. I didn't really care about the results. Getting on the winner's podium, being congratulated by my coach and senpais, making Anshan so happy. First success really encouraged me. Got too enthusiastic. When I started the downhill, which was my forte, I got into the accident. When people are too greedy, nothing good ever happens to them. I wasn't sure if Kotori understood that.
もし、また自転車に乗られるなら、乗りたい？
Yeah, I would love to, of course. But I have the glider now. I wouldn't give it up. Let's see. She seemed a little relieved to hear me say that. When I was rehabilitating, the doctor told me that if I underwent surgery, I might be able to return to racing.
そうなの?
But it sounded like a rather large-scale surgery. It would take a lot of time and money, and whether I'd get healed or not would be a gamble. Didn't have enough determination, so I declined. I was told the chances for recovery were 50-50. Now I understand why I didn't have the resolve back then. I think I was scared. I was told that if it failed, my knee wouldn't have any possibility of being healed anymore. I want to think I still had that chance to recover. It's rather uncool for me to say this, but if I didn't have that chance to cling to it, I probably would have gotten completely depressed.
今からでも受けられないの?
I'm not sure. I'd have to ask a doctor.
受けられればいいのに。
Why?
だって、ほら、夏が終わったら、ソアリング部が、
Ah, the disbandment.
なんか、納得いかないけど。
That's right. In that case, I guess trying to surgery might be a good idea. Wait, that school doesn't have a bicycle club, though. Instead of doing that, making a club that wouldn't worry Kotori's family seemed like a more interesting option.
そうしましょう。それで、また自転車の後ろに乗せてちょうだい。
Kotori was talking as if it had already been decided. With that, if it's just that, I could do that even without a surgery.
このアルバム、借りてていい?
Sure, but before.
見るの、網膜に焼き付くくらい。
She put it in a kind of scary way. However, I could tell she wasn't exaggerating as she was turning the album's pages with a serious expression. What the fuck's happening? The fuck going on, y'all? I was tidying up the kitchen after dinner. Kotori was at the table persistently looking through my album. Aren't you bored?
全然。
She answered without lifting her head. She looked like an archaeologist trying to decipher an ancient text.
「このゴツゴツした感じの男の子が葵くんの一番のお友達だったのかしら。さっきからやたら登場して葵くんにベタベタしてる。
Ah, Takenaka?
竹中？ゴツゴツは竹中。
She repeated as if to
みん
memorize
な
it.
仲良さそう。
Well, yeah. I still keep in touch with them even now. He even asked me to meet up this summer, since it's been a while. I was too busy, so I turned him down, though.
竹中とは今でも仲良しと。
Is it alright if I take a picture later?
いいけど、どうして？
To send to him. He just won't stop pestering me about it. When I bragged to him about getting a girlfriend after a violent storm of jealousy, he started badgering me to show him a picture of her.
それはいい考えね。葵くんにはもうちゃんとした彼女がいることをしっかりアピールしとかないと。
She murmured while looking at a picture of me and Takenaka with our arms over each other's shoulders. Just what is she imagining? Alright, the dishes are done. It's easy when it's just two people. If it were always like this, my job as a dorm mother would be trivial. Well then, I guess I'll take a bath now. How about you? Wanna go first? They're gonna fuck now. Again, I should not be brandishing this while saying lines like that. That sounds very threatening then. I will beat the Santa. Except I won't. Oh, voila! Kotori suddenly was at a loss for words and her cheeks became red.
湯船に浸かりたいなーなんて。
She peeked at my face with upturned eyes. Huh?
でも、一人じゃまた溺れちゃうといけないし。
Glance, glance. And how about it coming with you?
そうしてもらえるとありがたいわ。
She said in a slightly prickly tone and closed the album. Oh, it's actually technically still fair game. I'm looking carefully, and it's actually still fair game. I'm not gonna risk it, but still, technically, since they are probably gonna start having sex now. She muttered happily as she sat on my lap. Kotori, could we change the position a little?
ダメ。
She replied
だ
clearly.
ってこんなチャンスめったにないのよ。私はね、ずーっと葵くんとこうしてみたかったの。
You've always thought of doing
そう
this?
よ。
After replying clearly once again, she giggled happily. It's not like I dislike it or anything. In fact, I say I'm really happy, but the towel's in the way.
何か言った？
No, nothing!
いい湯加減だわ。すっごい贅沢な気分。
That border down, like you can see it down here, like the border of the tub, looks hella uncomfortable. Like, it feels like you'd be leaning back and the edge would just, like the fucking, not edge, actually yeah, edge, would just be digging into you. Just looks uncomfortable. Kotori was satisfied with the water temperature. Her skin was dyed slightly pink. And as I saw that, I got turned on. I rubbed the tip of my nose against the back of her neck.
もうくすぐったいよ。
As it did that, I embraced Kotori's body from behind. Skin is so smooth.
なんかいやらしい。
Telling me not to be dirty in a situation like this? Kotori nodded cruelly.
今はスーパーイチャイチャタイムの真っ最中なの。エッチなのは禁止よ、禁止。
Going to take off the towel at the very least? She glared back at me. We haven't done that since our very first night. Every day we've been busy, and there was always someone else at the dorm, so I can't be blamed for my expectations. I was sure Kotori invited me to the bath expecting the same. Seems like I was wrong.
なんか、あからさまにがっかりしてない？
But that's not true. I'm so happy to take a bath with you. Kotori took my arm and pulled it, twining it around her body.
男の子はみんな野獣だって言うけど、私、葵くんだけは違うって信じてるの。
She expects too much from me. Listen, Kotori, all males have an instinct that girls don't
葵
have.
くん、信じてるよ。
Oh. When she saw it like this, I couldn't call myself her boyfriend if I betrayed her. When she says it like this, I couldn't couldn't call myself a boyfriend if I betrayed her expectations. Tried to direct the blood that had gathered at my lower half somewhere else. Talking about serious topics should do the trick. What do you think about the political situation nowadays? After the last change of government, the political work has been consistently in
興味
turmoil.
ない。
I see. I wasn't interested in it either. But thanks to an interesting topic, it seems that the blood flow has gone back to normal a little. I placed a hand on Kotori's leg. Still don't like them being touched. During our first night, Kotori didn't like to be touched on the legs.
嫌じゃないよ。あの時、葵くん言ってくれたから、足のことも全部ひっくるめて、私のこと好きなんだって。
She remembered. Yeah, that's right.
じゃあ、もし足がこんなじゃなかったら、好きじゃなかった？
Of course not. There's no way I wouldn't fall in love with a girl with such a super cute girl. And I'm not sure what you would have thought of me, but I'm not sure what you would have thought of me.
そんなの、好きになってたに決まってるわ。ただ、葵くんの素敵さに気づくのが、今よりちょっと遅れてた可能性はあるかもしれない。
Kotori thought for a moment with serious expression.
私って美少女だし、勉強もスポーツもできるから、もし足がこんな風になってなかったら、謙虚な気持ちで生きられなかったと思うの。葵くんは知らないでしょうけど、私って結構図に乗りやすい性格なのよ。
There you go, saying strange things again. Oh, I do know how easily you get carried away. I'm sure everyone else probably knew that too. To begin with, you wouldn't have come to Keifu Academy. And we wouldn't have met. Kotori nodded.
事故にあって、いろんなものを失ったけど、そう考えると、手に入れたものもたくさんあるのね。
Saying this earnestly, Kotori firmly grasped my hand under the hot bottle.
この間のフライトの時、私に言ったことを覚えてる？
What was that?
空を飛んでる時の私が、本当の私に思えるってやつ。
Ah,
あ
that.
れからね、私、そのことを考えてたの。それは、どうして私が飛びたいのかってのと同じ疑問で、答えはまだよくわからないんだけど、でも、空を飛んでる時だけは、私は自由なの。この足が動かないなんて関係ない。自由になれるの。
Free. As I heard that word from Kotori's lips, I felt that it was something very important to her. Kotori is overflowing with energy. She's so lively that you can see just at the bottom down there. She's overflowing with energy. She's so lively that you wouldn't think her legs are disabled. Sometimes I get the feeling that her wheelchair is binding that energy and holding her back. In these moments, Kotori always seemed very frustrated. She wanted to move around more freely. Kotori can only break free from those shackles when she's in the
自由
sky.
っていうのは、私がなくしちゃったものの一つだけど、他にもたくさん、そういうものがあるのね。
Like what?
普通の人にとっては、当たり前のことよ。友達と遊ぶことや、彼氏と恋愛することや、それこそ、葵くんと出会った頃なんてどん底だったから、毎日つまんなくて、嫌なことばっかで、この私が学校が嫌いだって言ってたのよ。信じられる？
If I were to hear this from you now, I wouldn't believe it. Kotori nodded in agreement. She placed her hands on top of mine that was resting on her leg. So, you can't feel anything at all?
この辺りから、
Saying that, she brought my hand to the base of
さ
her
っき葵
thigh.
くん、手術の話してたけど、実は私もね、同じようなことを言われたの。
I was gonna like sit up and say that I was expecting something like that, honestly, but thought that they wouldn't go for that kind of stuff. I thought like there would be more of the like, yes, she has to learn to live with it completely or something like that. I thought that was a possibility, like because of the CG with her riding on the bike in the back. I thought that that's gonna be like like an after story, and her legs are gonna be fixed and all that. But then I thought that would feel a little too cheap, I guess. Like, everything's good now. We have this like disabled heroine, but we're gonna make her not disabled anymore. I feel like they were gonna like ride with it a bit more. Then I heard about the whole like surgery for him and was like, okay, possibility? Maybe? Nah, probably not, honestly. I feel like she would have done it already if she could, since she's in like a much different situation. But now it's just like, okay, they're both gonna be able to do what they love again. Hell, like, imagine if like they both go through the surgery and the after story is just like them becoming like some of the top people in the sport. He becoming like a fucking top cyclist in Japan, and her becoming like a fucking pro volleyball player again. Really?
お医者さんから、もしかすると治る可能性があるかもって、すごく難しい手術で、日本じゃできないって言われた。お父さんが探し回ってくれたけど、結局見つからなくて。
Wouldn't you be able to walk again if you had that surgery?
どうなんだろう。もし手術が成功したとしても、完全には回復しないって言ってた。その上、成功率は万に一つなんだって。なんかもう、絶望的な数字よね。
See?
期待させちゃった。ごめんね。それでもいいの。治るかもしれない希望があるだけで、全然違うもの。まだ、私は終わってないって思えるから。でも、本当はもうダメなんだって分かってて、どん底気分で絶望して、全部諦めかけてた。
After she had said that casually, she giggled and stroked my
そこへ
arm.
葵くんが現れたってわけ。
Kotori. Suddenly my feelings for Kotori exploded and I embraced her body with all my might. Love you, Kotori. I'm so glad that I met you.
私も大好きよ、葵。
Kotori smiled softly and embraced my arm that was hugging her. It's no good after all.
どうしたの？
I love you so much that I can't hold back anymore.
はい？
Huh? Yeah, Kotori says. There we go. I predicted it. His hands are all over her titties. She said, "Hey, wait," Kotori says. "It's fine if I don't take off the towel, right? You have taken off the towel. It is still on her body, but it is basically off already."
せっかくい
And
い
we
雰囲気だった
finally
の
got
に。
such a good
そこを
mood.
感
We
動して
should just
そういう
revel in
気
it,
分が引っ
Kotori
込むところ
says.
でしょ。
Hey, I endured for this long. You should be praising my willpower. I defiantly reached out with my hand and started stroking her gently.
そういうこと
Come
は
on, we should wait for such things until we go to
ベ
bed,
ッドに
Kotori
入ってか
says.
ら。ね、
Nope. Now it's just fine.
子供みたい。
Talking like a kid, Kotori says. Started rubbing Kotori's breast through her towel.
やってることは子供
Yeah,
じゃ
but you aren't acting like a kid, Kotori says. Besides, haven't you noticed it? That thing that has gotten so big right under your butt a while ago?
知らないもん。
I have no idea what you're
何のこと
talking
かしら？
about. I swayed my hips a bit to notify her of its existence. Wow, Kotori says, I'm just gonna be skipping here. See you after the sex scene. He's done.
なんか、ガラーンとしてるね。
そうね。ただでさえ無駄に広いのに。人も、グライダーもないとなるとね。
You know that there's a variation of this background without the glider. Maybe you should be using this one. That one instead of this one.
先輩たちが引退しちゃったら、ずっとこのままなのかな。
でしょうね。けど、元に戻るだけよ。あの人たちが来る以前に。
なんでだろう。先輩たちがいて、グライダーがあるのが当然みたいに思えちゃうんだよね。
ここがもともと飛行機用のドックだったからじゃない？
そうなのかな。なんだか寂しいよ。夜ちゃん。せっかく楽しいことが始まってたのに。
ほんと勝手な人たちよね。私たちの気持ちももう少し考えてほしいものだわ。
Whoops.
言い間違えただけ。姉さんの気持ち。
すごい言い間違いだね。一文字も合ってないよ。明日、あのすごい子も来るかな。
さあ、確率的にはこの3日くらいが一番ありそうだったけど。
緊張してきた。
だからっておやつ食べすぎ。私の分残しておいてね。
食べてないと落ち着かないんだもん。
まった。
そういう夜ちゃんはなんで掃除してるの？
別に、みんな物を出しっぱなしにしてるから。何かしらこれ。ロープ？
Rattle, rattle.
いたいた。おーい、朝ちゃん、夜ちゃん。アゲハ先輩、どうしたんですかこんな時間に。いやー、家に一人でいると落ち着かなくって。 ほら、明日あたり来そうでしょ？それで飛び魚荘に行こうかと思ったんだけど、せっかく二人きりなのを邪魔しても悪いと思って。ちょうど姉さんが寂しがってたところです。先輩！大歓迎です！ありがとう。はい、これ、差し入れのイチゴ。はあ！イチゴだよ、ヨルちゃん！チュル。ヨルちゃん、それ何？そこの物置で見つけたんです。ロープみたいに見えるんですけど。ほら。ゴム？ゴムの紐なんだ。何に使うものなのかと思って。なんだろう。何かをぶら下げてたのかな？ここにあるものだから飛行機に関係するものだと思うんですけど。
それよりイチゴ食べましょうよ。
そうだね。食べよう食べよう。
Why do I feel like that rope is something very important?
おいしい！このイチゴ、甘いです。
I can't help but feel like that rope is something very important.
もらい物なんだけど、うちじゃ食べきれないから持ってきたんだ。今日はここで寝るんですか？うん。寝袋も持ってきたよ。もしかしたら今夜で終わりかもしれないもんね。
アゲハ先輩、本当にやめちゃうんですか？
小鳥が辞めるならね。小鳥先輩がいなくても続けられるじゃないですか。続けられるけど、続ける意味がないっていうか。
アゲハ先輩はグライダーが好きじゃないんですか？
好きだよ。小鳥や葵や朝ちゃんたちとやるなら、やっぱりグライダーがいいな。葵たちが飛んでるの見るの好きだから。アゲハ先輩って変わってますね。そう？なんで？普通は自分で飛びたがるものじゃないでしょうか。そうかもね。何度か葵に乗せてもらったけど、気持ちいいよね。はい、
気持ちいいです。
でもまあ、それが私の目的じゃないし、うまく言えないけど、一番大事なのはそこじゃないの。小鳥先輩がいなくなったら、その大事なものもなくなってしまうってことですか。そういうこと。
先輩たちは、そんな風に思える大切な仲間なんだってことですよね。
仲間か。去年の夏にガレージを取り壊されてから、ほんと大変だったからね。あの時は悔しかったし、ほんと泣きそうだったけど。でも、今思うと、あれはあれで良かったのかなって思う。ただのクラブ活動以上のことができてるのは、学校から外へ飛び出してったおかげだもん。
羨ましいです。
何言ってんの？朝ちゃんももうとっくに仲間じゃん。部外者とか言いながら、いつも手伝ってくれてるヨルちゃんもね。ねえ、ヨルちゃん、さっきのロープ見せて。何に使うものか調べてみよう。
Like, Yoda is starting to actually grow on me. She's dropped her like a complete bitch. She still acts like a bitch sometimes. But not all the time.
そうですね。
今日はみんなで並んで寝ましょうね。川の字になって。
なんかキャンプに来たみたいだね。のぼせた。
She's at least in underwear. Kotori was sitting in front of the electric fan in her underwear. Here, barley tea. It's fucking causing overload again. It's possibly Discord. Whoops. Try closing Discord. Discord was still like open in the background, that's what I meant. Here, body tea.
ありがと
also poured my share into a glass and drank it in one go. So long and I would have dehydrated myself. While I was appreciating my drink, Kotori held her glass in both hands and face down with a blush.
すごいことをしちゃったね。
Yeah.
葵くん、じゃないや。葵、すごいエッチだった。普段そんな風に全然見えないのに。
That's so? But I guess you wouldn't like a guy who would be perverted all the time, right?
うん、絶対嫌。
Instant reply. Do you also hate it when I get dirty during those times? Asked, a little worried. She gave it a quick thought and...
刺激的。
She muttered a single word. I didn't fully understand, but it didn't seem like she disliked it. I gently brushed her hair. You're cute all the time, but when we're having sex, you're 150% more adorable.
人、エッチ大好きみたいに言って。葵とだからよ。葵が私のことを求めてくれるのが嬉しいのであって、別にエッチなわけじゃないもん。そこんとこ、勘違いしないでよね。
Swing. She pointed at me with a finger. I know. I love you, Kotori. I leaned over and embraced her tightly. Then I kissed her.
エッチなのもいいけど、こういうのもいい。
Me too. We embraced softly. We were in a heartwarming, happy mood. Hey, wanna go out for a bit?
いいけど。
We put our clothes on and went outside. The light wind was refreshing. It was just the start of August, and yet the cicadas were already out buzzing. Can't see anything. Said as I looked up at the sky. According to ominous prediction, the probability should be the highest during these 3 days.
いよいよなのね。
Next to me, Kotori was also gazing up. Yeah, pretty soon. We were waiting for it the whole year.
私、飛びたい。モーニンググローリーを、雲の回廊を渡りたい。
Kotori said this like a prayer.
そうしたら、取り戻せる気がするの。未来が。
Future? Kotori nodded.
そう。未来。私がなくした、一番大きなもの。もし、モーニンググローリーを飛べれば、取り戻せる気がするの。
It wasn't as if she thought God was beyond those clouds and would give it back to her. It was probably about the dignity that she lost, the very essence of the girl called Habane Kotori. I think what she wanted to regain was the faith that there's still a future ahead of her. That's why I said, yeah, you'll get it back. Kotori grasped my hand
一
tightly.
人じゃ不安だけど、葵といると勇気が湧いてくる。そばにいてくれて、ありがとう。
I squeezed Kotori's hand in return. You'll fly, definitely. You both looked at the same place, straight up at the highest point of the sky.
Nani? なんか騒がしいんだけど。おはよう。
Good morning, Kotori.
起きてきた。おはよう、小鳥。おはようございます、小鳥先輩。
おはよう。あんたたちか。って、なんでアゲハまでいるの？
いやー、一人寝が寂しくて、昨日、朝ちゃんたちに混ぜてもらってたの。コロッケいただいてます。これ、小鳥先輩が作ったんですよね。
いいけど、全部食べちゃダメよ。それ本当は葵のなんだから。
葵。
Yoru reacted with a twitch.
今なんか、さらっと呼び捨てにしたわね。どうやら夕べのうちに進展があった模様。
うっさいわね。いいでしょ、なんて呼ぼうが。こっちに来なくてよかった。
危うくお邪魔虫になるところだった。
Kotori, do you want some rice?
大盛りで。
When I refilled her bowl, I heard some chat from the hall. What is it? Did somebody come?
おはよ
Kanako entered the dining hall vigorously. And it wasn't just her. After her they came in one by one.
ただいま、みなせくん。
Yuka!
あー、疲れた。バスの中で一睡もできなかったよ。おはようございます。
早苗さんに、りょうこちゃんも、みんなどうしたの？かなこさんから電話もらったのよ。
そうそう。ソアリング部のみんながなんかすごいことするらしいから見といた方がいいよって。
それで夜行バスで帰ってきたら、みんな時間が同じだったみたいで、駅でばったり。
So that's why you're here so early.
私は、さっき寮の前で会ったんだけどね。
あの2階の部屋に隠してあったグライダーで飛ぶんでしょ？なんとかって雲を。
私たちも興味あるからさ。みんな頑張ってたのいつも横で見てたし。一度、飛んでるところ見てみたかったから。そう言うと思って、一応連絡も回しておいたわけ。みんな。
After our garage was demolished, and before we moved to our current base, we had been doing our activities here at Flying Fish Manor. It was a bit of a nuisance for the other boarders, but they never complained and even helped at times.
というわけで、朝ごはんプリーズ。
There are some croquettes if you like, Kotori made them.
これ、小鳥ちゃん作ったの？すごい。おいしそう。
They can eat them, right?
もちろんよ。私たちの晴れ舞台を見るために、わざわざ帰ってきてくれたんだもん。でも、お口に合うかしら。昨日作ったやつだからもう冷めてるし。
There's rice and miso soup too, I'll get you some.
私手伝うわ。
When I was preparing the rice, the doorbell rang. Sana patted off to the entrance. And a moment later,
お邪魔します。
Anchan! As soon as he entered, the boarders blushed a little and began fixing their hair.
おはよう、ハニー。
よう、来てやったぞ。
Is Akari also gonna be here? Hotaru! Mabo! What brings you here?
昨日、いちごのお裾分け持っていこうと思ったんだけどな。アゲハに、お邪魔になるからやめとけって言われて、仕事行く前に持ってきたんだ。
Saying that, he put 3 packs of strawberries on the table.
昨日のいちごだ。ほんとだ。私はあーちゃんに呼ばれて。あーちゃん、はい、着替え。おー、悪いわね。
New Mabo?
あ？こないだ飛んでるとこ見に行ったとき、なんか中途半端になっちゃっただろ？もう一回ちゃんと見ときたいと思ってな。
Is that so?
勘違いすんなよ。これは生徒会役員としてだからな。別にお前らなんか興味ねえからな。
Male tsunderes aren't attractive, so stop. Just immediately shut him down like, come on, you're just making a fool of yourself. It's not nice to watch. Like, Jesus. Why complain? Nothing is being used up too much. I caught crabs in paradise. So me and both cans of crabs. I don't know where that suddenly came from. I legitimately do not know what that came from. I just heard it like in one Super Butter Buns video, and I don't know why I can't get it out of my head. Anyways. Yeah, I get it. Say it, don't spray it.
なんか、一気に大所帯に。
Are you guys going to eat breakfast?
いいのか？
じゃあ、ちょっとだけ。
なんかうまそうだな、このコロッケ。
Yes, making that huge pile of croquettes was a good call.
葵の分、ちゃんと残るかしら。
しかし、こうなると足りない人が一人いるわね。おっと、言ったそばから。
このチャイムの押し方は。
私、見てきます。
Ryoko headed towards the entrance. And a moment later,
やあ、おはようみんな。
Amina walked in with a huge smile on her
本
face.
当に来ちゃったよ。
Good morning, senpai. What's the matter? You're here early.
今日もテストをするんだろう？顧問としてしっかり見ておこうと思ってな。
いつも気まぐれで、来たり来なかったりするくせに。ご飯の匂いにつられてきたんじゃないでしょうね。
いい匂いだ。お腹空いてたのを思い出してしまったぞ。
Please have some too, senpai.
ありがとう、葵くん。
The normal, quiet morning in one instant became very noisy. It felt just like the morning of a festival day.
葵くん、おかわり。こっちも。
Okay, right
こら、あ
away.
んたたち食べ過ぎ。葵の分なくなっちゃう。
葵？
Everyone immediately. Except Amane, of course. Everyone's attention focused on Kotori.
いいでしょ、なんて呼ぼうが。
Yeah, it was a pretty cool morning. Summer was coming to an end.
ほら、さっさと食べてテストフライトやるわよ。
This might be the last summer like this for us. Something tells me it won't. Did I accidentally throw something down? No, I don't think so. Got crabs in paradise. There's a me and both kinds of crabs. I need to stop. I need to stop. Ah! I'll end it here. If I keep going now, go on for too long. You know, almost identical. It's just pushed to the side. Fuck. Anyways, so yeah. Sorry about the short length of these past two ones. It's just, RNG is not with us. I hope you guys enjoyed this one and see you next time. Most likely with the finale for Kotori-Route tomorrow, I hope. Unless something goes terribly wrong again. Bye-bye.